Good afternoon. Please be seated. Hello, I am David Paradise, Senior Associate Dean in the College of Business. It is my distinct pleasure to extend a warm welcome to you for joining us for the Master's Hooding Ceremony. I am truly delighted that all of you could join us for this distinctive ceremony, where family and friends are given the opportunity to witness the hooding of our graduates in a more intimate setting than the Civic Center. This ceremony includes our online students as well as our on-campus students. We currently have online students taking classes while living in other cities in Florida and in other states such as Idaho, Wisconsin, California, and New York, just to name a few. In the past, we have had active military students enrolled in online classes while deployed overseas, with some of them persevering through classes even while deployed in war zones. For our online students, this is a special time. We're meeting many of you, and you are meeting each other for the first time face-to-face. As online students, you never have to set foot on campus, so we're honored that you've made the journey to join us here today. We are here to celebrate the accomplishments of the spring class of 2014. Taking time to recognize the accomplishments of our graduates is very important. The first Master's Hooding Ceremony was initiated by the MBA class of 2006. Since then, it has grown to include all of our master's degree programs. One of the hallmarks of this ceremony is to invite a successful friend of the college to help us mark this occasion by providing some thoughtful insights. Today's keynote speaker carries on that tradition. Mike Hertigan is a co-founder of TriBridge, a technology services firm specializing in business applications and cloud solutions. A 25-year technology expert with a wealth of knowledge and management skills in business systems planning, custom application development, and systems implementation projects, Mike serves as TriBridge's Vice President of Information Technology. In this role, he oversees strategic planning for the firm's organizational information systems, software applications, and IT support and infrastructure systems, as well as development of TriBridge's intellectual property. In addition to his professional experience, Mike currently serves on the Community Advisory Committee for the Tampa Bay Estuary Program and the Advisory Board for Skyway Acquisitions. He holds a Bachelor of Science earned in 1985 and an MBA earned in 1991 from Florida State University. Please welcome Mike Hertigan to the podium.
So I'm going to do things a little different and try and face the folks I'm actually supposed to be speaking to, so no disrespect to the people in the crowd. I want to thank the College of Business and Dean Beck Dudley for inviting me here today. It's certainly an honor to be standing here in front of you 23 years to the day from when I was sitting in your chair. What a thrill it is to be back on campus. My son and I got to go on a tour this morning, and all the smiling faces and the new facilities. What a wonderful place it is here at Florida State. And my son is a huge Gator fan. He's in the crowd with us today. He's a freshman in high school. And I think today may have cracked the door just a tad to maybe have him consider Florida State for his college career, because he certainly is going somewhere. It's just a matter of where. So my view of the world really comes from working since I was 13 and working with 4 wonderful companies. I've had the opportunity to work with both the management and non-management teams of literally dozens of companies over the last 30 years. And I wanted to share just a little bit about my work history in addition to what David just shared with you, to kind of give you a perspective on where I came from. As I said, I started working at 13. I got a paper route back in the days when I pedaled my bike from 5 o'clock in the morning, made $40 a week, which was big money back in those days, and had that paper route for 5 years. When I came to Florida State, I decided to join the hospitality program and got a job at Andrews. It was then called Andrews Second Act. It's now Andrews 228. Started as a busboy and eventually worked my way up to head waiter. After graduating the first time from Florida State, went to a restaurant company called Houston's. Actually worked in Houston for a year, Atlanta, Chicago, Fort Lauderdale, was in their management program, and really learned a lot about service and consistency and how that can really have great feedback or great attributes for you throughout life. I did decide to leave the hospitality industry and come back to Florida State to get my master's degree. And the master's degree really did a great job of preparing me for the business world. I was fortunate enough when I left Florida State the second time to join an organization called Arthur Andersen, which at the time was one of the big 6 accounting firms. And there I was there for 7 years, and I worked on process design projects, software implementation projects, software development projects. And I learned really the value of training, the value of written and verbal communication skills, and really the value of long-term client relationships. And then my combination really of my experience at Florida State, my experience with Arthur Andersen, allowed me to take the risk and start my own company with 2 very good friends. And that company is TriBridge. We started TriBridge in 1998. Today we are very blessed. We have about 600 full-time team members throughout the United States, about $120 million in business. And as David mentioned, we're a professional services organization, so highly professional, working with lots of very educated people, and it's been a pleasure to work with them over the years. I've had a lot of different positions at TriBridge, as you might imagine, everything from billable work in the early days to being responsible for various practices that did the implementation work and the sales to sell that implementation work, to my current role as the VP of IT, which for a consulting organization that does ERP and CRM implementations, you might imagine, has pretty high expectations. So that's a lot of fun. So as I was thinking about what to talk to you about today, I was trying to go through those 30 years and figure out what are some things, some advice that I can lend to you that maybe will stick with you a little bit anyway. And I decided to talk about 3 topics: loyalty, leadership, and focus. So our first topic is loyalty, and I think loyalty is important both in life and in business. I'm going to focus on business today because that's where you guys are headed. I think about job hopping really started, I think, in kind of the early 90s, the notion that in order to advance your career, you have to change companies. And I think it's slowed down a little bit given the recent economic situation we've been in. I'm concerned it will continue, though, in the future. And I'm here to tell you that I think there's another way. By loyalty, I mean sticking with an organization for an extended period of time. Now, this assumes that organization is good to you, it's a good culture fit, but assuming that's the case, I think that organizational loyalty has many, many benefits. One of them is trust. It takes time to build trust with people through shared experience, whether that's the leaders or the leaders building trust in you. Your productivity increases. Today's business world is complex, and to learn the ropes, it takes a little time. You have to be somewhere for more than 3 months before you figure out how things actually work. Typically, it's 6 months or a year before you really know how things work. So with that loyalty comes that time you start to understand how to get things done in that organization. And relationships get built. Most effective organizations today rely on teamwork, and you're a much better team member if you understand and you know the people that you're working with rather than changing jobs every year or 2. So I strongly suggest, that you consider changing roles within an organization rather than changing companies in order to advance your career. In fact, I think it's actually an appropriate topic to discuss with your companies as you're doing interviews. What is their philosophy around changing roles as you progress in your career? I do think that'll lend to career satisfaction. The next topic is leadership. Hopefully a little bit different than maybe you've heard in the past. I think leadership is a very broad term. It can be very difficult to define. I've worked for and with many great leaders over the years, and I've asked each one of them what their definition of leadership is, and they all have different ideas on the topic. In preparation for this, I actually Googled leadership, and I could not find a single definition of leadership. So after years of searching and kind of talking to people about leadership, I've come to the conclusion that leaders are like snowflakes. Each one is slightly different. And I think this is great news. You can kind of define your own style of leadership. You don't have to go to a book and figure out what a leader is and go be that thing or be that person. Having said that, I think there are a couple of common traits that most leaders have that I've seen. First, leaders are trusted. And trust is something that's typically earned over time through success. Leaders can motivate others, and they don't motivate them because of their authority or their title or their position. They motivate folks because people believe in their ethical or their moral code or in their cause. And they're not motivated because of fear. Fear is a good short-term motivator, but the minute you remove that fear factor, people's behavior will change. Leaders are goal-oriented. They understand that there's always a proverbial hill to take. They can communicate why it's important to take the hill, and they can actually help you take the hill. Leaders are problem solvers. Leaders roll up their sleeves. They get involved in the big problems. They don't delegate everything. I think delegation is important, but delegation does not equal leadership. It absolutely does not. Leaders are optimistic, and not rose-colored optimism, but optimism or faith in themselves and the people around them that they can solve any problem that's put in front of them. And finally, I think leaders are humble. So, are there other factors that can be used to define leadership? Of course there are. But again, in my opinion, you get to define those factors for yourself. I'd like to close this topic with a quote from Colin Powell, who's famous for leadership quotes. Colin says, "The day people stop bringing you their problems is the day you have stopped leading them. They have lost their confidence that you can help them or concluded that you don't care. In either case is a failure of leadership." So when someone brings a problem to you, smile and be thankful because they believe in you that you can actually help solve their problem. So the last topic that I'd like to chat with you about is where to place our focus. And I want to tell you a true story to tell the point. So as I mentioned earlier, I joined Arthur Andersen, and they're very famous for training. I got shipped off to Chicago for 2 weeks of training, and we learned fun things like system implementation and communication skills and methodology and blah, blah, blah. But really what I remember is 2 minutes out of that entire 2 weeks. We were in some training course, don't really remember what it was, but the instructor pauses and says, "Hey, we're going to have a couple of visitors." That's all he said. So two people walk in, and they're holding a sheet between them, kind of like a pane of glass, and they walk in front of the room, and they stand there with that sheet for about 10 seconds. They don't say a thing, then they walk back out. And the instructor asks us, "Did you guys notice anything?" We all raise our hands. We had all seen it. There was a little black dot in the upper right-hand corner of that sheet. Okay. Instructor says, "You guys notice anything else?" "No, not really." Okay. He goes on to tell us that the woman is wearing clown shoes and that her hair is tied up in a bow with like a big flower of a bird of paradise flower. That the guy was wearing a plaid shirt, striped pants, and bowling shoes, which I don't think is a problem, but I've never really been known for my sense of fashion. And he went on to say that our reaction was perfectly normal. That humans tend to notice, and more importantly, focus on the small imperfections in life, completely sometimes ignoring the beauty and the bounty that surrounds us. So I would ask you to please ignore the small imperfections in life. They're not worth your time and your energy. They really aren't. Now, I'm not suggesting you stick your head in the sand and just, forget the world's problems. I suggest that you take on the big problems. And that as you do, you keep your focus on the good and the beautiful and the bountiful things that surround us in life. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you for your time. Good luck in all your future endeavors.
Thank you, Mike, for those words of encouragement and inspiration. I am now honored to introduce my colleague and friend, David Orozco. David is the MBA program director and is an assistant professor of legal studies at the FSU College of Business. His area of expertise is related to intellectual property laws and regulations, and his published articles have appeared in several well-respected publications such as the Wall Street Journal, the Journal of Business Ethics, the American Business Law Journal. He also has a forthcoming book chapter on intellectual property and human rights, and research projects funded by George Mason University, the National Science Foundation, and the Marketing Science Institute. In 2013, Professor Orozco was awarded the FSU Guardian of the Flame Award. He received his BS in economics from New York University's Stern School of Business in 1999 and his JD from Northwestern University School of Law in 2004. After law school, he spent 3 years as a postgraduate research fellow at the Kellogg School of Management's Center for Research in Technology and Innovation in Evanston, Illinois. Please join me in welcoming David Orozco to the podium.
Welcome. Welcome, MBA graduates. Welcome, family, staff, and faculty. Thank you for having me here today. First of all, just congratulations once again. This is a tremendous honor. I am so happy to be here with you and your families to celebrate this wonderful and momentous achievement in your lives. It's hard to believe, but we've gotten through the program. In that relatively short time, I have had the opportunity to get to know many of you. And because of this, I can say with great confidence that the future looks very bright for each and every one of you. I am confident that all of you possess the intelligence, maturity, positive outlook, and dedication that it takes to succeed in today's competitive world. You all understand what it takes to succeed in today's business world because you developed the necessary skills that form the core of our FSU MBA program. These skills include discipline, organization, analytical thinking, grace under pressure, leadership, teamwork, risk-taking, and camaraderie. Yet, there is an additional trait that is not stressed as much as it should be, yet I believe it forms the backbone of every great society and every well-lived life. I would like to speak a little bit about that trait today with you. The trait I speak of is generosity. Generosity is a quality that all great business leaders possess, and they have all benefited from it at some point in their lives. Take the case of the business leader who rose to the top of their field because of a mentor's generosity. Warren Buffett would likely never have become the celebrated investor that he is had it not been for the generosity of his mentor, the scholarly Benjamin Graham. From what I have seen over the years, generosity is naturally aligned with principled business, or what I call business at its best. Generosity is also part of the fabric that weaves through business and society, binding us all together. Take the case of entrepreneurship. How many startups would have failed had it not been for the generous mentor, friend, or family member who lent the budding entrepreneur a helping hand? Steve Jobs may never have started Apple had his parents not shown generosity when they let him start his company out of their garage in Cupertino, California. Just think of it. Many of us would not have iPhones today had it not been for this single act of kindness. In the past, and certainly today, forward-thinking businesses demonstrate generosity as they seek to strengthen and improve their communities. For example, Allstate Insurance has opened community workspaces in several cities so that community members can conduct financial literacy and business planning workshops that are free of charge. Many of these initiatives have important sounding names like corporate social responsibility. At their root, however, is the simple idea that business and doing good are often two sides of the same coin. So, even though generosity was not officially taught in the MBA curriculum, keep in mind that it is an essential business activity and an essential element of your future success as a principled business leader. Never has the world needed principled, fair, generous business leaders more than it does today. I know you all possess this important quality, since I have seen many of you exhibit generosity as you went through the program. For example, many of you participated in numerous charity events that raised money for worthy causes like Relay for Life. Many of you stepped up when the program needed your help with activities like our inaugural MBA for a Day recruiting event. And many of you donated your time and volunteered to call prospective students to share your thoughts about the program. These are just a few examples of the generous spirit that already lives within you and that had an impact on me and on the program. After today, you will have the rest of your lives to nurture that budding spirit of generosity in your professional careers. Doing so will inevitably make you a better business person and the world a better place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Now I have the privilege of introducing our student speaker, Preston Allman. Preston is receiving his MBA this spring and has served as the president of the MBA Association this year. During his time completing the Bachelor of Science in Economics and Political Science at FSU, Preston served on the Student Alumni Association Leadership Council and the Executive Board, and was a member of the Phi Eta Sigma Honor Society. As an MBA student, he was a member of the Seminole Student Boosters Executive Board and was a Garnet and Gold Key honorarium member. Preston also enjoyed giving back to the FSU and Tallahassee community through MBAA fundraisers for Relay for Life during the past year. After graduation, Preston hopes to pursue a career in business consulting. Preston exemplifies the perseverance and dedication to excellence that we encourage in all of our graduate students. Please join me now in welcoming Preston Allman to the podium.
Thank you for the introduction, Dr. Paradise. Good afternoon, faculty and staff, distinguished guests, and family and friends of the 2014 College of Business Master's graduating class. I'm honored and humbled to have the opportunity to address all of you and represent not only my MBA cohort, but all students from each department. Florida State is a first-class institution, and I admire the lengths many students have taken to be a part of this university. Today on this stage, we have students from New York, Iowa, Idaho, Texas, Wisconsin, West Virginia, Canada, the United Kingdom, and St. Martin, as well as many other states across the Southeast. I would like to first begin by congratulating the 2014 graduating class and commemorating all of their accomplishments in and outside of the classroom. Considering only 9% of the American public has a master's degree, each of these students has put in the hard work that is necessary to separate themselves as the future leaders in the business world. I can assure you, however, that reaching this point has not been easy. Many students have spent the past year or more juggling full-time jobs, internships, family obligations, interviewing for jobs, and completing class assignments, while also trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle and finding some time to relax. The graduate program coursework is demanding, and the long nights spent in Scherzer Library have been grueling, but these are the moments that have taught us the valuable skills of time management and perseverance. Even though formal education is coming to an end today for most of us, it is important for you to understand that your learning has only just begun. Very few people work for the same company or in the same industry their whole lives, so it is important to continue learning new skills and discovering who you are. I encourage you to take risks and take the initiative to learn something new every day. Your degree is one thing in life that no one can take away from you, but it is now your job to build upon it and fully maximize your potential. While you may be familiar with the dedication that these students have had academically, I believe it is equally important to highlight the impact that this class has had on the Florida State campus community. The graduate students have participated in many intramural sports, organized countless community service projects, and worked to fundraise over $4,000 for the American Cancer Society during this past year. This has been a monumental year, and to top it all off, not many people can say that they were able to complete their master's during the same time that their school won the 2013 BCS National Championship. As the president of the MBA Association, I can honestly say that I'm honored to have been able to work alongside these bright and well-rounded individuals. None of this would have been possible, however, without the support that these students received from the College of Business faculty and staff. There are two individuals that deserve special recognition for their hard work, and they have both been key drivers to the success of the MBA program. The first is Dr. David Orozco. Dr. Orozco became the new director of the MBA program this past fall and has worked tirelessly to improve the experience of our students. His hard work has not gone unnoticed, and earlier this week, the MBA students voted him the recipient of the 2014 Distinguished MBA Faculty Staff Member of the Year Award. I have no doubt that the MBA program is in good hands, and I'm looking forward to seeing where he leads the program in the years to come. Next, I would like to recognize Joanna Sutherland, the advisor for the MBA Association. I have worked with Joanna every day for this past year, and there is no one that is as passionate for the students as she is. I have overheard students refer to her as their FSU mom, and this is because she is always willing to give advice. She has provided job leads to many of us, and she always made sure we were eating right and getting exercise. For those of you who don't know, Joanna is a health nut, and I will not be able to open a can of Coke or go to McDonald's in the future without hearing her voice in the back of my head telling me how bad of a decision I'm about to make. I've truly enjoyed this experience, and I'm confident that each of these students are prepared to be strong, ethical leaders while upholding the FSU values of strength, skill, and character. Thank you for allowing me to address you today, and for the final time, congratulations to the 2014 College of Business graduating class. Go Noles.
Hold on, Preston, we're not finished with you yet. Preston has done an exemplary job this year as president of the MBA Association. The staff, the faculty, his peers all feel very strongly about that, and so we have a special recognition for him.
Thank you very much.
Participating with us today is Billy Francis, a 1986 FSU graduate and 26-year Air Force veteran. Billy is the first director of the new Florida State University Veterans Center. The Veterans Center is leading the way to achieve one of our major goals, to help FSU create an engaged and successful community of student veterans. In support of our nation and our service members past, present, and future, Florida State University is working to become the most veteran-friendly and veteran-empowering university in the nation. Billy is here to place upon our graduating military the FSU Military Honor Cord. This cord will be awarded to all veterans in active duty military to honor their dedication to service to their country and their graduation from FSU. Today, we have 3 students in attendance to whom the cords will be presented. At this time, I'd like to call them to the podium. James Altman, U.S. Marine Corps veteran. Jeffrey Fisher, U.S. Navy veteran. And Matthew Telemann, U.S. Coast Guard active duty, Chief Warrant Officer. Today, James and Matthew are completing their MBA degrees, and Jeffrey is completing his master's degree in risk management and insurance. Gentlemen, we present these cords as a show of our respect and gratitude for your service to our nation. Thank you so much. Veterans and active duty soldiers who were not able to attend this ceremony will receive their cords in the mail. One thing that separates this master's degree celebration from the ceremony for the bachelor degree is the donning of regalia hoods, and we will now proceed with our hooding ceremony. When each student comes up for the adornment of his or her hood, I will read that graduate's name and hometown. We will be hooding our graduates by degree program. Will Dr. Frank Heflin please come forward to hood our Master of Accounting graduates? First row. Rachel Brown from Coral Springs. Christopher Martinez from Miami. Sheldon Wong from Zhenjiang. Yuting Zhang from Tallahassee. Will Dr. David Orozco please come forward to hood our Master of Business Administration graduates? Shane Ali Khan Hai from Orlando. Preston Allman from Jacksonville. James Altman from Jupiter. Renil Michael Imaro from Tampa. Matthew Oster from Maitland, Florida. Leah Bailey from Tallahassee. Allison Bahuniak from St. Petersburg. Alexander Bowler from Palm Harbor. Ashley Corbett from Valdosta. Caitlin Dean from Ponte Vedra Beach. Leslie Deslis from Leesburg. Jean-Louis Edouard from Saint Martin. Robert Gibbs from Savannah, Georgia. Ashley Huss from Tampa. Catherine Geronimus from Estero. Kayla Kessler from Boca Raton. Robert Lees from Orlando. Stacy Lusk from Jacksonville. James Mack from Orlando. Joel May from Port Credit, Ontario, Canada. Michael Mishrahi from Miami. John Paulgott from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Jason Parker from Tallahassee. Darren Pope from Brandon, Florida. Jeff Reardon from Land O'Lakes, Florida. Ryan Rodriguez Trias from Miami. Eric Sander from Ponte Vedra Beach. Joseph Sheras from Tequesta. Jeremy Sweeney from Sanford. Thomas Testa from Ponte Vedra Beach. James Thorpe from Nuneaton, England. Matthew Tilleman from Houston. Dan Venturini from Ocala. Receiving a combination Juris Doctor, Master of Business Administration. Corey Luttrell from Orlando. Receiving a combined Master of Social Work and Master of Business Administration. Kelly O'Sullivan from Miami. Will Dr. Steve Perfect please come forward to hood our Master of Science in Finance graduates? Esteban Bedoya from Pembroke Pines. Jenna Benincasa from Sefner. Brandon Davis from Boynton Beach. Reed Davis from Fort Pierce. Tyler Davis from Eustis. Colby Fisher from Cooper City. Daniela Ferlanetto from West Palm Beach. Stephen Hellowell from Charlotte, North Carolina. Michael Helquist from Jupiter, Florida. Bryce McClanahan from Maitland, Florida. Ryan McDonald from Miami. Spencer Montgomery from Naples. Barry Neiman from Dunedin. Alana Puppernick from Pensacola. Anthony Rice from Davie. David Robinson from Pensacola. Raymond Stiff.
Where are you from, Raymond?
From Monticello. Gregory Zagurski from Vero Beach. Will Dr. Ruby Lee please come forward to hood our Master of Science in Marketing graduates? Lauren Carey from Naples. Emily Olesic from Weston. Sydney Rotar from Orlando. Will Dr. Kathleen McCullough please come forward to hood our Master of Science in Risk Management and Insurance graduates? Daniel Cook from Lumberton. William Doan from St. Augustine. Christopher Dumas from Atlanta. Jeffrey Fisher from Meridian, Idaho. Greg Lemaire from Des Moines, Iowa. Scott Plummer from Beacon, New York. Sherry Taylor from Dale, Wisconsin. Did I miss anyone? Members of the audience, I proudly introduce to you our newest members of the Seminole family, the master's graduating class of the College of Business at Florida State University for spring 2014. Congratulations. In closing, I would like to recognize the family and friends of our graduates. I know from experience that you have gone through this program with our graduates, making sacrifices of time, attention, and in some cases, money. I'd like all of the family and friends of our master's graduates to please stand. Graduates, this is your opportunity to thank them for their support. Thank you. You may be seated. The faculty and staff of the College of Business care deeply about our programs and students and devote much of their lives to making a difference, often one person at a time, and you've heard that a few times already this afternoon. I'd like to have all of the faculty and staff here this afternoon to please stand. Our graduates would not be here without you, and so thank you to all of you. Thank you. Again, I would like to thank everyone for joining us here this afternoon. We will close with the recessional of our spring master's graduates for 2004. Immediately following the ceremony, please follow the signs outside that will direct you to a reception in the Westminster House across the street so that you may continue socializing and celebrating with faculty, family, and friends. We now conclude with the recessional of our faculty and graduates.